So to say the least, I was one of, I think, maybe 5 people on the transactional side in the Chicago office at CB at the time. So I was like, I got to get the hell. I got to meet up with the gang down in Dallas. Like, everybody gonna be down there. Like, why? I'm walking around talking to the other 4 in the office. I'm like, yo, y'all going? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, word. Let me go book my ticket, all this stuff. And I had a buddy, Blair. I think you remember Blair.
Yeah, remember Blair. Yeah.
Blair and I were talking prior. He was based in New York in their Capital Advisors group, which is legit IB.
Right.
He's like, yeah, let's link up down in Dallas to go to this event, meet up with some other people that look like us and see like what is a demographic really like when we get down to service lines. Like how many are in valuation and appraisal, how many are in capital markets, how many are brokerage, how many VPs, who's middle management, who's managing partners or whatever. Like, how does that sort of demographic look when you go by service line? And we got our answer when we were down there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, I was looking for the same thing. It was I just joined CB, had a little bit of a rough start, but kind of got on the right ground, got my footing, and then I heard about this diversity conference. African American ERG, and then CBRE's African American ERG at the time was like 15 years strong.
Yeah.
So whereas some companies are kind of just starting it, or maybe like 2 or 3 years in, CBRG is 15 years in. So I was like, oh, I can't miss this. And to your point, you want to see who else is out there, right? Yeah. Because being in Philadelphia, I think I was the only minority male in a like production type role, like brokerage type role. So you have valuations, you have brokers, kind of eat what you kill. So valuations, I have to pretty much write all these reports to generate money for the team, and they're basing my performance based on how much I generate, how many reports I can get done, etc. So I have to find efficiencies, have to be not just qualified, but I have to get work out the door. Pretty much like a broker. Without the glory. So anyway, getting to the point, I was the only person of minority that was in a role like that. Everybody else was in other roles, which is fine. And then for valuations, I was the only person of color, excluding Miami. Let's just say on the East Coast at CB, I was pretty much the only person of color. I think they hired one other brother in Atlanta, like a year after I joined. So maybe 2 on the East Coast, and throughout the country, there was only 4 of us. One being Randall Dawson, who's like a mentor of mine. He's in Chicago.
Randall's, yes.
Yeah, so it was him, I think one guy in Denver, one guy in Atlanta, one guy in California, and me. So it was like 5 of us of the whole entire country in valuations, vertical. So, I would correspond with them from time to time, but I wanted to see more people like myself. And it was great. I really enjoyed it. Did you enjoy the conference?
Yes. I mean, it was great.
Yeah.
Was able to get out of the office, visit a city I'd never been to before, meet some people that I wanted to meet and interact and learn more. It was a great time. I mean, I laughed, had a great time, enjoyed every minute.
Yeah. What was the highlight of the conference, would you say? I have a highlight, and it doesn't have to be formal. It could be informal.
Okay, good. So I was like, well, what do I... Honestly, so, I mean, when we all linked up and we all went out after, I believe it was the second day.
Yeah.
I think we were 30, 35 of us.
35 deep. I mean, we went there deep. I text Blair about this because it popped up on my phone. I'm like, Blair, you remember this? He's like, yo. Yeah.
I'm like, it's so great.
Yeah, that was an amazing.
So great.
Because you can't really replicate that any other time because there's just not enough of us in one office to kind of go out and be like, let's get drinks and let's go to the club. I mean, we literally, so for those of you who don't know, we were in downtown Dallas. And do you remember the club? I don't remember the club or the bar.
I don't want to say the name.
Okay, so. Okay, appreciate that. So we went out, like 30, 35, just cars pulling up, African American ERG peeps, and we just took one corner of the whole entire building and just balled hard. And the DJ was crushing it.
Yes.
And we were,
it was so fun.
Jumping around, you know, just having a really, really, really great time. You know, really solidifying that camaraderie between us.
Yes.
And, you know, I left like, oh man, I gotta come here every time this goes down. So, and obviously that's how I met you, and that's how I met Blair. That's how I met, you know, Fred. That's how I met a lot of people. Randall Dawson, who's now my mentor, or one of my mentors. So, without going to that event, I would have never met you guys. Right. If I was just in my office, like, oh, I'm not going to go to Dallas. That's too much money. Oh, I can't. I would have never met you guys, and that I wouldn't have these connections. So, for anybody that's thinking about going to a conference with their ERG, you have to go. You cannot let that pass you up. You have to go every time too. And plus, you got to support, you got to volunteer, etc.